Hey you guys, welcome back to Reports on China. I'm Andy. 大家好，欢迎回到外美看中国。我是绿眼睛 Andy. With the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics just around the corner, Western media are ramping up their pressure on China to give in to COVID-19 and just learn to live with the virus. With 700,000 already dead in the US alone, does that mean they want millions of Chinese to die? Let's get reporting. With only 130 days to go until Beijing 2022, Western media have begun ramping up their pressure on China's government to give up its zero-tolerance approach to COVID-19, which has seen approximately only 95,000 cases in China to date since the virus was first detected, much lower than the new daily cases in the US recently. But before we start, don't forget to hit like and leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed already, that would be a lot of help. You can also buy me a coffee, link in the description. Adam Minter from Bloomberg has given China an ultimatum. China can't have Winter Olympics and zero COVID, he says, while stomping his feet, probably. Every option creates a dilemma for Beijing, the opinion columnist writes. But the best approach would be to establish a vaccine mandate, something Japan unwisely avoided. Now, I wonder if Adam is such an expert on managing pandemics, why haven't I heard his name before? One way or another, it seems certain that China will need to learn to live with the virus if it hopes to resume its pre-pandemic role as a global destination for everything from business to sports. In a similar vein, the Associated Press, in an article which has been picked up by dozens and dozens of media around the world, says that China is keeping the virus at bay at a high cost ahead of the Olympics. China's zero-tolerance strategy of trying to isolate every case and stop transmission has helped keep the country where the virus was first detected in late 2019 largely free of disease, the article says. But the public and businesses are paying a steep price. Quite ironically, the steep price the AP is suggesting that China's paying here is economic only, and void of any concern for human life. Their article details a few stories of tourism businesses and so on, who say they're suffering because foreign tourists aren't allowed into China. 2 years ago, this was our busiest season, they quote a tourism agency manager as saying. This year is worse than last year. 2 economists from Macquarie are quoted as saying, the zero-tolerance policy has been highly effective in putting COVID-19 under control, but the short-term cost is also extremely high. But if you continue reading, you'll find that China is doing better than other major economies, even with its zero-tolerance approach and closed borders. China was the only major economy to grow last year after the ruling party declared the virus under control in March and allowed factories, shops and offices to reopen, the AP say. Output in the United States, Europe and Japan contracted. Sure, growth is not as high as it would be without the pandemic, but all of the West's pressure for China to ditch its zero-tolerance approach and open the country to COVID, largely based on economic factors alone, are shown for what they really are when you realize that China is not only saving millions of Chinese from unnecessary death, but also managing to do better financially than other major economies in the process. The West want China to give up its zero-COVID stance for purely selfish reasons. At best, they want better access to China for travel and business. And at worst, they want China to fail economically and for millions of people to die. Just think about it. If COVID were allowed to run rampant among 1.4 billion people, the country simply wouldn't be able to cope. So here's my message for Western media and governments. Death and destruction is simply not an option for China's leadership, and it's a crying shame that it's become normalized and acceptable for much of the world. China's economy, while still hit hard by COVID-19, is doing better than any other major economy on the planet, and at the same time, life here goes on largely as normal, and everyone gets to stay healthy and alive. As you already know, China's government enjoys massive support for keeping everyone here safe. And if they have anything in spades, it's time. China will ride this pandemic out for as long as it takes, only unlocking the back door once the threat from outside is gone. You can mark my words. See you next time.